your mark, get set, go. 2017. It's already February before I get to the third part of this three-part series of the Astrology of 2017. Just a slight review. The first part, I went over that whole dip chart, okay, about what was, coming for the year, when the planets were going retrograde, what aspects were happening when, and when things were going to start picking up. Remember the emphasis on August and September and everything. So the second part, okay, then I went around with your rising sign and we looked at the different houses of, what the planets, were doing. And today I want to look at what the different planets are bringing to your natal planets, and not just all of your natal planets. We could also do the ascendant, but I'll have to see. There's only so much time and there's a lot of planets. So I'm limiting it to the personal planets. That is Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars. These are your personal planets, okay? Mars is the slowest. It takes 2 years for Mars to go around, okay? So everything else goes around even faster, 1 year, or the moon every month. So these are very personal. So if you are getting aspected by an outer planet, a transpersonal planet, okay, these transpersonal planets are, and I'm going to be working with transits of Jupiter, Saturn, Chiron, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. So you'll see how it goes. I'm just going to start with Pluto, and we're going to look at where it is. I'm going to switch over here to the chart, and we're just going to look and see where it is. And you need to pull out your chart. If you don't have your chart, go to astro.com, free charts, and then you can also put the transit wheel around the outside of your natal chart. You can do a bi-wheel, okay, and that'll show you right where these planets are. And you want to be learning how to do this all yourself. Eventually, after some time, you'll just know where everything is and know your whole chart by heart and everything like that. So I'm going to share my screen now because I'll show you what I do every year. This is what I do every freaking year, baby. There you go. Okay, check it out. All right. I mean, I just take a chart. This one is drawn, as you can see, for January 1st of 2017. January 1st of 2017. Okay. I'll make this bigger, I guess. No, should make it smaller. All right. So you can see January 1st, Saturn was at 21 degrees of Sagittarius, 23 minutes. So the way to read this is that Saturn goes direct until 4/6, April 6th. Goes up to 27 degrees, 48 minutes, and then it goes retrograde. Goes back to 2111 on August 25th, stations, and goes direct, and goes into Capricorn in December 20th of 2017. Boom. See that? So we're going to start with Pluto. Pluto at January 1st was at 16 degrees, 57 minutes. It's going up to 1924, okay, by April 20th. Then it's going to go retrograde back to 1651 until September 28th. Then it's going to go direct, okay, until April 22nd of 2018. It's going to get back up to 21 degrees, 17 minutes. So what I'm going to be talking about is, as you can see, if you have a planet that's 15 degrees or less, congratulations. You have just made it through a Pluto transit. If you have a planet at 16, 17, 18, 19, you are getting a triple dose of Pluto this year. okay? And I am particularly talking about the cardinal signs. The cardinal signs are Capricorn, opposite is Cancer, square is Aries, square is Libra. These are the real tension-producing, creative tension-producing aspects, okay? So I hope you've got that, basically. And if you have something at 19 degrees or 20 or 21 or 22, you are entering a Pluto transit. And next year, Pluto will be all over you, okay? And then the following year, it will lighten up. I give Pluto 3 years. It's a year coming in, a year to really make the evolution, the transition, the transformation, and then a year to let go and lighten up. Basically, emerge from the underworld. So let's look at it. Here we go. If you've got Mars, okay, in these degrees, anywhere really from 15 to 20 degrees, okay, Pluto is hitting your Mars. And what that is doing, a Pluto transit takes you down, it takes you in. Pluto rules the root chakra. And what is Mars? Mars is my instinct, my masculine, my God, my wants, my desires. Mars is the lower octave of Pluto. It's super powerful. And it's how we assert ourselves and put ourselves out in the world. So when Pluto comes around to hit Mars, okay, you are dying, letting go of old sexual attitudes, old ways of asserting yourself, old ways of being demanding, old ways of immaturely doing tantrums, or, you know, it's time to transform and evolve the way you go about getting your desires met. Yeah? Pioneering, starting, beginning. So you need to be looking, whether you're a man or a woman, you need to be looking at your masculine nature, okay? And how does Pluto help you do this? Pluto works in one of 4 ways. Number 1, okay, it brings somebody in to your life that is going to be Martian, that is going to want you or desire you, or try to control you, manipulate you, drive you, push you, excite you. But, you know, Pluto is very often just like magnetic. So there can be this magnetic, hypnotic attraction, but it can be with a very powerful, powerful person. Pluto just will work this way no matter where it is or what it is. It's very often, you know, underworld characters, very rich people, maybe dark people, Spider-Woman, Spider-Man, okay? The warlord, the sorcerer, the sorceress, the seductress, but these people that, you know, can really, okay, they're powerful. And you are attracting this powerful individual into your life. And very often, it is because you need to get in touch with deeper sources of power within yourself in order to manage, handle, or deal with this person. So it may be a predator, is what I'm saying. It may be the tax man, okay? It may be a natural catastrophe where you've got to, like, you got to get tough, you got to get in touch with your masculine drive, and you got to push, and you got to go for it. Now, flip the coin. You can overdo, right? You can overreact. Like, oh, yeah, you know, it's like, you know, don't try to push me, don't try to manipulate me. Kaypacha told me that I got to be tough. Well, it's not just, you know, overcompensating and like pretending or like losing your temper, blowing your top, shooting somebody. I mean, no, right? So you got to walk this knife edge blade between being powerless, taken advantage of, and being overly demanding or powerful. or forceful would be the negative use of power, you see? So this is this transition that is going on. And of course, this can be very much about sexuality, very much about relationship and partnership. But as we'll see with Venus, I'm talking about Mars now, and Mars has more to do with the animal instinct. Okay, I'm horny. Okay, I want. I'm going to take. It's self-narcissistic. It's my needs, my wants, my desires. Yeah, So, it can also be what? Rejection, where you make sexual advances at somebody, or it's like, yeah, I want you, and they say no. And then you get to deal, okay, with all of your issues, okay, around rejection, around your masculinity, around your sexuality, around your blah, 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 and it can even bring you back to your history too. Yeah. So this, is a way. The second way, through a relationship, the second way is Pluto will bring up past life capacities or talents. Okay, so you may start a new football, starting a new athletic sport or something, or to take up a new. This is a very good use, a very good time. Pluto Mars, rejuvenation, renew. Okay, your energy, your power, your source there. Yeah. Number 3, if you resist it, Pluto can come in with stagnation. Stagnated Mars is, I feel locked in, frustrated. The boss won't give me a raise. I don't have any money. I want to go to Costa Rica for the astrology rising. You can feel like trapped in my little cubicle at the office, and or this relationship is just like trapped, or I'm not, I'm having to self-pleasure. I'm not getting any sex, or you can just feel confined and held in. And so this Pluto comes around to your Mars and says, hey, if you want something, you got to reach out. You got to go for it. You got to get it. You can't just sit and just lollygag and think that everything is going to come to you automatically because you're a nice person. But that suffocating feeling really sucks. Lastly, big resistance to evolution, big resistance to transformation, big resistance to change. Pluto will take away something. Could take away your relationship, your sexual power. You could have sexual issues or problems. Pluto even rules Cancer. So we can, you can have all kinds of issues and problems around your masculine, okay, around your sexuality, around your power, to where it's very threatening, and you better, right? Mars is anger. Get in touch with your anger. Maybe you're one of these nice light workers, that never yells or screams, or nonviolent communication, whatever. It's hello, get real, okay? Get human. Pluto is very real. It's very human, okay? So it's going to come around to your Mars and go, pow! And don't forget, this is in cardinal signs. So, Mars in cardinal signs wants to initiate, and Pluto is going to push you into a place of initiation. Now, there's no way I can take that long with all of these planets. So, I got to speed this sucker up, man. It'll be part 10. The Astrology of 2017, part 50. Okay, Venus. Okay, so Mars is your animal drive. Venus is more the heart chakra, okay? This is more the feminine, the goddess, the love nature, okay? And there's physical love, emotional love, right? And they're different. So, Mars is going to hit you on a real physical level. Venus is going to be more in the heart chakra, rules the heart chakra, okay? And it's saying that, it's time. Your soul chose before you were born to have Pluto aspecting Venus now, this year, or last year, or next year, because your soul is ready to change the meaning of love. What love means to you, love what is to you, okay, what love, what is as a value, as a priority, as, Venus is our values. So it's also, you know, getting ourselves in alignment, okay, with what is really important and what is really going to nourish and make me feel fulfilled, satisfied, give me pleasure, you know, give me joy and happiness. So Pluto aspecting Venus, how does it do that? Again, it'll be one of four ways. You'll meet somebody, okay, and or somebody will leave you. You could be in a relationship and partnership, and that relationship and partnership needs to transform, no doubt about it. You are ready to go deeper, deeper, deeper into love. Pluto, Venus. If you're with somebody and they're not willing to go there, okay, or not able to go there or whatever, it's time for that relationship to end. Yeah. Pluto is counseling, therapy, you know, getting, you know, really going into the deeper levels of what this relationship means and what it's about and how important it is to me. It's a time when relationships can be really important. You can become a little obsessive compulsive. Pluto, Venus. I've got to have love, love, love. Don't leave me. So you can also get into a place, you know, where you are become obsessed with somebody. So, you know, a person that you're in a relationship with could leave, okay, or they could stay, and that relationship could like super go down into the underworld where the two of you do your shadow work and you go to, you know, conferences and workshops and, you know, tantra or whatever, and you just like, and you rebirth. It takes 3 years, okay, to like go through this Pluto Venus. Or you could be single, not in a relationship, and oh my God, here comes, you know, Don Juan. Is that the famous guy? Not Don Juan. Shoot. Don Juan's the the sorcerer with Carlos Castaneda. Oh, come on. Anyway, you know what I'm talking. Yeah, it could be a woman if you're a guy. It could be a guy if you're a guy. It could be a woman if you're a woman. I don't know. But somebody that just blows your mind, sees your soul. Their eyes pierce right through you. And you feel naked and you're just surrendering to their awesomeness, power, and you've never met anybody like this before. And they take your breath away. And then obviously you know what's going to happen with that. All the passion, all the intensity, all of the, you know, feelings that, you know, maybe you've ignored, stifled, avoided, suppressed, you know, for lifetimes or whatever. All this, you know, kind of stuff keeps, you know, it's just all comes up, and your understanding of love gets radically transformed. You see what I'm saying? Stagnation can be you're lonely. You've been lonely for a long time, but it's getting so fucking bad. You can't stand it one more minute, and you are going to get out there and get somebody. You know, if you have to go to some stripper bar or something. I mean, you know, it's just like, I've got, you know, I mean, it's like your intensity, okay, your desire, your, you know, I want companionship. Even somebody to talk to, somebody to care about me. I mean, all of a sudden, like, heart issues become like, yeah. And you undergo a huge transformation. Let's do Mercury. Pluto coming around to Mercury. Mercury is my thoughts, my communication. Oh, I got to say before I go on, Venus is also money. My values, my property. This can be a time. Pluto makes things disappear and makes things super powerful. Diamonds, gold, and jewels all come from Pluto. So you can get, you know, extremely rich and wealthy, or you could lose all your freaking money. But it's a year where power, Pluto is power, okay, is really, you know, and obviously it's about mastery. Power is in mastery, so you need to master yourself in order to deal with Pluto. Yeah. So when it comes to your thinking, and Mercury is also commerce and business and communication and emails and Facebook and social networking and your throat chakra and singing. Yeah. So this is a change in the way you communicate. It's a change in the way you think. You may think you're going nuts. You may go nuts. Okay. You know, it's just like, yeah, you're thinking overtime. You can become very obsessive, like a racehorse with blinders on, where I can only think about this. Okay. Right. And you know, Pluto can come along and just, so, you know, all I can say is it's the force of evolution. And the force of evolution wants to rid yourself of what is not essentially you. So if you are mentally, emotionally, physically attached to things, okay, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and they are not essentially you, they need to go away. Die, let go, release, surrender. If they bring out your essential core self, your powerful truth, yeah, okay. So it's really, you can tell when Pluto comes around, you know. If it stays, yeah, it's because it's you. If it goes, it's because you don't need it, or it's not you. It's not yours. So just know that with Mercury, it's going to be on the mental level, yeah? And your communication, you could get very Hitler, be careful, okay, and watch your tongue. Don't like lose yourself. Pluto's deep root chakra, emotional stuff, okay? You can get carried away and obsessive compulsive. You want to just calm yourself down. You want to learn how to listen, okay? Deep listening, very powerful, okay? Beautiful growth that can happen with Pluto coming around to Mercury. Yeah? The moon, home, roots, family, mom, and the past. Okay? Pluto is going to take you down into your deepest feelings, your inner child, your greatest needs, your fears, your worst memories, it's just going to like bring up, okay, all the places or the realms that you need to let go of. You know, you need to grow up. You need to stop being a baby, stop being a child. You need to become emotionally self-sufficient, be your own mother, your own father, and take care of yourself. And this can come through your physical home, you know, getting destroyed, or, you know, a tornado, hurricane, earthquake, whatever, you know. This can come through, you know, even your physical body, you know, the moon is the breasts, okay, the rib cage, the chest, whole area, okay. If it has to do with grief or whatever, you know, lungs is grief, so smoking and things like that, whatever, you know, habits, the moon is our habit life. It's our subconscious needs and things that we're not aware of. Well, Pluto's going to make you aware of your subconscious, what you are unaware of on a feeling level. And some of this may have come from mom, and it may have come from family. And you've been carrying shit for your family that is not yours, and you need to let go of it. Don't forget, there is no death in astrology. I don't care if it's suicide or not. You're coming back. There's no end to this. Yeah. There's no way out of this. Pluto will bring you down and bring you in. And just like winter, spring, summer, and fall turns back into winter, after every death, there's a resurrection. After every explosion, there is a rebuilding. This is nature. Just look at the seasons, look at anything, look at a compost pile, okay? Everything comes back. So you may lose your mind, well, you're gonna get you're gonna get a new one. You lose your partner, you get a new one. You lose your job, you get a new one. You lose your house, you get a new one. I mean, this just goes on. This is just life. Pluto is just life. So the moon can attach, okay? I want to suckle on that boob, okay, you know, forever. I feel safe, solid, secure. It's known, familiar. You know, it's mom, okay? You know, but we need to mature, evolve, grow, and, you know, become more objective, become more self-sufficient. So Pluto moon, you know, it can tear away what we really feel like we really need. And the truth is, you don't. Or the universe would provide it for you. Yeah. Or you need to learn how to provide it for yourself without using other people or a job or a house or a new car or whatever for security, identity, whatever. Yeah. The sun. Pluto on the sun, Pluto on the ascendant. I'm going to just mix the sun and the ascendant in a little bit together because they have to do with your essential core truth. Who I am, my identity, who you are. Guess what? You're not who you thought you were. You can go through a complete identity crisis. This is not my life. I can't believe I created it. No, I did not create it. I need to create it. Somebody else created this life for me. I was just doing what Dad wanted me to do. I was just doing what, you know, I was just following, you know, whatever Trump would do, I would do because I want to be a billionaire. I don't even think he is a billionaire, right? He's a millionaire. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. That's another video. So, but yes, so this is, you know, the sun is your essential soul self quality and the way that you express it and your creativity. And Pluto is going to help you, whether you like it or not, to get in touch with, if you didn't create something, well, you better learn how to. Yeah? You are a co-creator of your reality. Do not be a victim. Do not be a martyr. Be a creator. So Pluto's sun is going to come around and kick your butt, okay? But that kicking your butt is going to just like open you up to a whole new world, whole new identity, whole new life, whole new potential, yeah? So it's absolutely awesome. Got it? So this is if you've got these planets, one of these planets in Capricorn, and here we go. I'm going to move this now, right? Sorry, I can't shrink it down a little bit, but, you know, Capricorn, or you could be opposite these planets, or it could be square these planets. But that is what Pluto is going to be about, okay? Now, as you can see, there is a T-square going on here. So if you have your planets, I mean, let's just go over to Uranus, okay? Let's, you know, you can see here, Uranus. January 1st, it was at 20 degrees of Aries, okay? It's going up to 2831, August 3rd. Then it's going back to 2434 in January of 18 until it goes direct, okay? May 16th of 2018, it goes into Taurus. If you have planets, okay, from 20 degrees to 0 degrees of the next sign, let's say 20 degrees to 30 degrees of Aries, 20 degrees to 30 degrees of Libra, 20 degrees to 30 degrees of Cancer, 20 degrees to 30 degrees of Capricorn. You know, are going to be getting Uranus. So Uranus is now, you know, we had the square with Uranus to Pluto. Uranus is at 20 and Pluto's at 16. Uranus moves faster. So that's over, done. If you've got something like we said with Pluto, okay, you know, from 15 to 20, Well, you're just coming out of a Uranus transit, right? But if you've got something, like I say, from 20 to 30, here comes Uranus. So let's just look at Uranus. What's going on there? Knock it off. Uranus is also associated with the root chakra, with the Kundalini energy that raises your vibration, awakens you, liberates you. I also associate it with the third eye. It's the nervous system. It can be shocking, okay? It's very unstable. It is the force that Carl Jung called individuation. You shall be unique and different, funky, okay, eccentric, bizarre, okay? There is no such thing as normal. Uranus is here to demonstrate that for us. Okay, and it does it in mind-blowing ways. Let's see how it does it with Mars. Uranus, Mars, okay, equals explosions, gunpowder, bombs, okay, you know, like electrical shock, lightning. Oh my God, yeah, this is Mars combined with Uranus. This is like, look out, baby. Yeah. What that's going to mean is you just can wake up one day and go, I'm out of here. You know, wake up one day, I got to do this. I mean, just like change your mind, change your life, change your partners, change your approach. You become more eccentric, unusual, bizarre, funky. Okay. And your expression. Mars's muscles, the adrenal glands, you know, it's got a lot to do, okay, with just your temperature. Yeah. And your energy, heat. And this is what? Suddenly hot, suddenly cold. Uranus rules the extremes. So you can be extremely on one day, extremely off the next. Be the perfect partner one day and a terrible partner the next day. But it's time for you to like really shake it up and shake yourself up. And when Uranus comes around, all I tell people is embrace change. Be a force of change rather than be forced to change. So with Mars, okay, this is going to be like, it's time for you to start, begin, pioneer, go out and get them, Charlie. And you know what? You're going to be getting a great trine from Saturn, right? Because look at, we said Saturn is going from what? Same degrees, man. 21 up to 27, back to 21. Uranus, okay, it's going from 20 to 28, back to 24. These guys are trining all year. So if you've got something going on here, and especially if you've got something around between 20 and 30 of Leo, that's going to make a grand trine. Bam, bam, bam. You see that? Wow. That's my Mercury, Mars, Venus, Pluto, and Ascendant. This could be a bang up year for me. Anyway, so Mars, yeah, bang it up. And bad side, downside, I'm not a force of change. I don't want to change. I'm not unusual. I just want to be normal. I just want to fit in and belong. Guess what happens to you, poor thing? Okay, you know, you get eccentric, bizarre people come into your life, or there's like suddenly, suddenly accidents. You know, bam, your car's upside down. You know, like boom, bang, bing, bong. You know, it's like shake it up or get shook up. Okay, so Uranus is like super freaking unstable. Be ready to change. That's all that I can say. Your soul planned that Uranus. It goes around every 84 years. This is the only time you're going to get this transit of Uranus. Okay? And the key to a Uranus is experiment, detach, and get ready for a roller coaster ride. And this can be what? Super freaking exciting. Hang out with bizarre, unusual people. Start wearing funky clothes, you know, funny hats, whatever. I mean, strut your stuff. It's, you know, if you embrace Uranus, it's like the magical mystery tour. Okay. You know, it's like Doctor Who, you know, taking off, you know, and I mean, it can be very exciting. But the downside of it is it's very hard to relax. It's not really a year to relax. So I suggest you find healthy ways of letting off steam. You know, get out in nature, go jogging, ride your bicycle, do extreme sports or something, you know, but you know, you gotta really just, you're gonna get wound up. Uranus is going to wind you up like a Duracell battery bunny. Venus, yeah. I used to only wear black. I'm never going to wear black anymore. I'm getting rid of my whole wardrobe. Okay. I used to like race cars. Now I like luxury cars. Okay. I used to like, you know, tall, dark, handsome men, and now I like short, chubby guys. Anything. Okay. You know, it's like I used to hate scotch. Now I love scotch. Okay. I used to hate sex. Now I love sex. I used to love this. I don't love it anymore. I mean, Venus is what I love, what I'm attracted to, what I value, what I think is important. And Uranus is just like, whoo, try this, experiment with that, check that out. Oh, here's a new, you know, funny person. Okay, you know, whoa, but they're exciting, you know, but gosh, you know, it's kind of weird. It's unconventional. Uranus is super unconventional. So this can be unconventional relationships. Okay, we've been married for 20 years. Now we've decided to open our marriage. Okay. Okay. Or, you know, we've been living together and like really, you know, intense for 15 years and we've decided to get married. You know, I mean, it's just like blah, blah, blah. Or, you know, we've been living together and, you know, he got a job over in France and I'm in New York and, yeah, we love each other. We're soulmates, but, you know, we're on different continents right now and we really don't know what's going to happen. This is the perfect Uranus transit. I get people coming to me all the time, Uranus. I just don't know what's going to happen. Absolutely. And don't try to shut it down or lock it down or commit too early or too soon. That's the mistake with the Uranus transit. You want to stay with the Uranus transit. A Uranus transit is 18 months. Okay. So it's like, you know, it's been coming, you know, it's been building for you. Maybe last year it started coming in. Could be all this year and into next year. 18 months. It's a long time. And what it's going to do for you is liberate you. Uranus is about liberation, baby. Enlightenment. Opening that third eye. And it may have to do with non-attaching. Stepping back a little bit, stepping out a little bit. But really, you're going to be okay. Yeah. Mercury, Uranus Mercury is like Tesla, you know, or Einstein, or like sudden flashes of inspiration and intuition. Mercury is the lower octave of Uranus. Uranus is the personal unconscious. Mercury is the conscious. You connect these two and it's genius. Genius, genius. But it's, again, the nutty professor, chitty chitty bang bang, okay? The absent-minded professor. Genius one day, where were you yesterday? You know, I mean, it's like, whoa, you can change your mind like that. New ideas, new impulses, new books, new thoughts, new business. It's not a, you know, it's a very unstable time for business. You want to experiment. Don't forget, if Uranus is coming around, okay, don't try to stay, maybe your business needs to, you know, you need to try something new. Uranus is also technology. This is time to, you know, use the webinars, use the World Wide Web, you know, get out there, get on Instagram, or like, you know, get technically savvy. Uranus Mercury says you got to get up with the times. Uranus is the future. So it can really stimulate your left brain a lot, and it may scare you a little bit. Again, you may feel like you're going nuts, and you may go nuts. So you also need to watch and be careful. You need to meditate. You need to drink chamomile tea. You need to not overstimulate yourself with caffeine or nicotine or all these stimulating drugs or whatever. It's just like, you know what? You've got to try to stay calm. You know, in the midst of, you know, Uranus lightning bolts, you know, I mean, isn't that what it's all about? Moon, Uranus moon, oh, yikes, yeah. Hot, cold, warm, Luke, chilly, you know, I mean, from frozen ice to boiling steam, you know, emotional ups and downs and upheavals and anger and, you know, things from mom and dad, or maybe even past lives, past life regressions, or, you know, hypnotherapy brings up, you know, I was molested when I was 1 and I just found out, or I mean, any kind of, you know, the moon's the past, stuff with family, stuff with mom, stuff with childhood, you know, it's just like, oh. And Uranus can just be bam, bam, like shock. So, you know, the moon likes to be rocked and stable and safe. Uranus comes in and just goes, yeah. Upside, emotional genius. Able to observe my emotional nature, my inner child, the way that I emotionally work from an objective, non-attached extraterrestrial place outside my body. And not only me, but I can see yours and yours and yours and yours. I mean, so these can be super psychic, superly awake, superly aware people, okay? But they may also be extreme, erratic, undependable, unreliable, non-committal, and blah, 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 blah. One way or the other, Uranus is saying, okay, time to express your unique, independent, original, outrageous self on an emotional level, yeah, through your moon. Sun, Uranus sun, the sun is like a battery, right? It's the nuclear power generator of the whole freaking solar system. Uranus comes into it and just gives it a triple charge, like supernova. So your whole identity, your whole reality, your whole creativity can be like, bam, you know, and you can become, okay, you can become the lightning bolt where you are shocking, awakening, mind-blowing, okay, you know, and you need to be sensitive. You need to be careful, okay? You can be ice cold. That's the downside of Uranus. Uranus is like a supercomputer. It's got no feeling whatsoever. It's raw, bare truth, like it or not, cruel or not, it's just the way it is. So Uranus can come in, you know, and if you've got it on your sun, you know, it can like really, you know, your solar plexus, that's your sun, you know, like you can get a shot that either lifts you up or totally demolishes you, and, you know, you really start to doubt yourself, you start to question yourself, you start to, you know, really go crazy, you know, with Uranus. Very, very intense. Rules astrology. So you may want to get into astrology, okay, when Uranus comes around, if it's aspecting, you know, your sun, moon, Mercury, especially, you know, it's like, I got to figure out, you know, what's going on here. And a good way to do that is through non-attachment and through looking at it objectively from an astrological, you know, as above, so below. So you're not in it so much, yeah? So Uranus kind of brings this non-attachment, which has a plus side, like I said, you know, it's that objectivity. The minus side is when you're not attached, you can destroy. You know, you can just be like a drone and just push a button and drop bombs because you're so not attached. You're not even there. You're not even dropping the bomb. The drone is dropping the bomb. So it's pretty scary. Yeah. So you get that? Yeah. And if that's not enough, you've got Jupiter. Yeah. I may as well just deal with this T-square. Okay. Pluto, I started with the slower moving. Now we're coming up to Jupiter. Okay. Jupiter, January 1st was at 21 degrees. February, okay, comes up on the 6th, which is today, stations, great wisdom teachings. Goes retrograde, back down. June 9th, okay, goes back to 13 degrees. Okay, from 23 to 13, we got a 10-degree spread here with Jupiter. Okay, and then it goes forward again, and by February 6th, no, by October 10th, it goes into Scorpio. Yeah? So for Jupiter, really, if you've got anything, okay, from 13 degrees, even 12 degrees or whatever, all the way through the end of the cardinal signs, okay, Jupiter is coming around, and what does Jupiter do? More, and more. Okay, and that's why I said 2017 was the year of what? Yeah, the end of illusion and profound revelation. Well, all that is Uranus. Uranus will blast open your illusions with enlightenment, okay, and it will give you revelation. And Jupiter says profound, like it or not revelation. Like it or not, end of illusion. Maybe you were attached to that illusion, and the end of illusion is extremely painful for you. So 2017 can be a very painful year, yeah, particularly for people living in the United States. You thought you lived in a free, progressive country, and you are now finding that you don't. Right? You know? I mean, this is not pretty, but it's reality, it's truth, and Uranus is going to show you right in your face, okay, what is going on. Yeah? I shouldn't even have gotten into that, but let's look at the personal aspects that you have, okay? All I can say with Jupiter is, let's do Jupiter, Mars. Jupiter, Mars, okay, if you've got Mars at these degrees, as you can see, Jupiter did a square with Pluto, actually, I think last November, when it came up, to 16, okay? And it's doing 3 squares, well, 2 more in 17. It's going to go retrograde, square Pluto again, and then square it again, okay, when it comes back a 3rd time, in probably August or something. But what you'll get is these earlier degrees are going to get Jupiter, Pluto. The later degrees from 20 degrees on, okay, is going to get Uranus, Jupiter. There's a difference there, yeah? Jupiter, Pluto is different than Jupiter, Uranus. So if you've got stuff from 15 to 20 degrees, you're getting Jupiter, Pluto. And if you've got stuff from, 20 degrees up, you're getting Jupiter, Uranus, okay? And, sometimes I call that Jupiter, Uranus the thank God aspect. Sudden, Uranus, Jupiter, good fortune. Wow, this can just be like, I won the lottery, okay? And Mars, it's like, whoa, man, I am so powerful. I am so macho. It's like, what I say goes. I just got promoted. I'm the boss. I'm making more money now. I'm getting my way now. And it's just like, I am hot and sexy. I'm getting all the sex I want. I went on a diet, lost some weight, looking good, blah, blah, blah. Everybody wants me, blah. It's like, It is in Libra, Jupiter in Libra, lots of partnerships, lots of changes and expansion through partnership and relationship. Mars is sexual. And what? Obviously, you could see too much. This is the downside of Jupiter, okay? Overspend, overextend, overexpand, overconfident, over macho, over masculine, over. You're like too much. And you may not see it or notice it until somebody flips you off, you know, slow down, you know, you drive like an idiot. Yeah, I mean, you can, oppositions, okay, other people can come in as some teachers for you, right? Opposition, Jupiter and Libra, expansion through relationship can also be our partner straightening us out. Oh, you think you're so cool. You know, so if your head gets too big, you know, I'm sure somebody will come along to pop it for you. Yeah. Oh, Jupiter, Venus, too much sugar, too much love, too much money, too much, you know, I mean, it's just like, it's a very good time, you know, to invest, I would say, to gamble, to speculate, head on off to Vegas or get to that casino, man. Freaking Jupiter, Venus, rocket. In general, particularly if it's trines, okay, you know, the trine is to Jupiter. It's in an air sign. Okay, what did I say? 10 to 30 degrees, or, you know, just say 13 to 30. Okay, in Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra, Venus. Good time for you. Yeah, you got the Midas touch. Ding. Everything turns to gold. Yeah, it's great. Very great. And with Uranus, it can be very sudden. And with Pluto, it can be very powerful. Now, let's look at the other side of Venus. My values, my priorities, okay? You know, who I really am, what my soul really wants for me, what my heart really wants for me. And it's also aspecting Pluto, particularly in these early degrees of, what did I say? 16 to 19, okay? Venus, 16 to 19 of the cardinal signs. You're getting not only Pluto, but you're getting Jupiter, okay? Which is like really super high and really super low. And this is probably the other theme that I could say for 2017. This is the year of the bipolar. We're all going bipolar. We're all going schizo. We're all going like super freaking high and then super freaking low. And one day everything is like roses and the next day everything is ashes. And it's just like, this is the Uranus teeter-totter, and Jupiter says, yeah. Teeter-totters are fun. So do your Kundalini yoga. That's all I can say. Balancing the Vayas. That's my video that just came out. Anyway. Mercury, Jupiter, Mercury. Again, don't think too much, but you'll have a lot of good ideas. Very good time to write a book, make videos, do a documentary, open your business, go into sales, really expand. Jupiter is also foreign lands and foreign journeys. So Mercury is short journeys and short travel. So this can be an extremely good year. Yeah, I'm going to say good, even though if it's a square, you know, it could be challenging and still good. I know other astrologers will disagree. Oh my God, Mercury square Pluto, you should not travel. Well, I disagree. I think that, you know, I mean, if you got Pluto squaring Mercury, that means right now you've got Mercury either, you know, at 16 to 19 of Libra or 16 to 19 of Aries. And it is time for you to be wholly, fully, and completely transformed. by travel, through travel, with a foreign person, by a foreign person. You know, maybe you go to Tibet and the hear the Dalai Lama. It's just like, whoa, not Tibet. He lives in Dharmasala, right? Come on, get it together, Tom. So yeah, so but you know, and what's the the downside of Mercury? Mercury Jupiter is what? Learn how to shut up. You know, I mean, sometimes you can just talk too much. You turn people off. Okay, you turn people away. You don't know how to listen. People, they don't take you seriously anymore because you're just blah, 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 blah. And it could even be about yourself. Yeah. And, people get tired of that shit. I love it, man. You got to have fun with this stuff. Moon. Yeah. Again, if you got this moon, Jupiter, all I can say is, I just bought a new house. I just bought a new car. I decided to add an extension onto my home. I'm feeling big. I'm feeling, and it's like, okay, if this is true for you, if this is right for you, if it is part of your destiny, if it is on your soul journey, if it's helping you accomplish your mission in this lifetime, then yes. And you can have tremendous success. Jupiter, Uranus. And if it's out of a need, to be seen or recognized or updo the Joneses or impress your parents or, if it's just out of some false belief, reality, truth, it's not you, and Jupiter, this whole thing comes around, then you're going to get the Pluto side of it. I bought a new house and it burned down 2 weeks later. I won the lottery and, the bank came at me and the IRS came at me and, the money's all gone. I mean, it's like stuff can just like come and go. This is a year, like I said, of just like everything is super unstable. And when it comes to that, Jupiter is telling us, and Saturn in Sagittarius is telling us, pay attention to your truth. You got to stop bullshitting yourself. You got to stop bullshitting other people. You've got to see through other people's bullshit. You've got to call people on their bullshit. This year is a year of honesty, of revelation, right? Of no more illusions, of really getting our act together personally, relationship-wise, socially, and globally. Libra and Jupiter is about social justice. Yeah? This can be a real time of revolution. This can be a real time of, we're not going to take the inequality. We're not going to take, all of the bigotry. We're not going to take all of the, unfairness, all of the violence, all of the, we're not going to take it anymore. So, Jupiter, when it comes around to Uranus, Uranus is revolution. Jupiter says more, bigger. Uranus says, I'm rebelling against my family. Jupiter comes around, I'm rebelling against the society, against the whole world. Woo! So this is the moon. Inner child, beware. If your inner child gets too big, you start getting too selfish, too self-centered, too demanding, throwing your tantrums, overly emotional, being a drama king, a drama queen, just, oh God, oh, it's so intense. Oh my God. Manipulating other people with your emotions. Knock it off. Yeah. And, this will be a year when you can really see, and other people, I'm sure, will be happy to point out, that you are acting like a child. Jupiter, Sun. Sun has a lot to do with your health. Yeah. So Jupiter, Sun can also be a time where, yeah, you start getting, you feel good. You feel optimistic. You get out of bed feeling all right with yourself. You start trusting yourself. And you have some intuitions or some ideas, and you start to believe in yourself. And then you start to believe in life. And you start to become, like an entrepreneur. I mean, it's like, yeah, a teacher of optimism. You get opened up, and you start looking good, and you start really, becoming the philosopher, becoming the guru, becoming the wise one. It's like you figure things out. Jupiter can really help you figure things out. So it's really, really powerful. Jupiter, Sun. I mean, if you've got the Sun, okay, anywhere from, what we can say is 15 to 20 degrees. Now, 15 to 25 degrees, if you've got the Sun or the Moon, or you're rising in 15 to 20 degrees of cardinal signs, okay, you need to know what signs are cardinal by now, okay? If not, if you're not in the New Paradigm community, you need to be in the New Paradigm community. And if you don't know, you need to ask on the forum, okay? I've also you can download the horoscope interpretation guide for free from my website. It's got all the elements and modes and da-da-da-da, but you gotta know this stuff because it's so amazing. Okay. All right. So that's 3 out of 6. I'm going to do Neptune, Chiron, and Saturn. And I'm going to pause the recording and refill my drink. So how do I do that? Pause recording. Okay, well that only took a second. So where are we? Do Neptune. Neptune, Neptune, Neptune. Here we go. Neptune. In January, you can see it was at 9:44 Pisces. It's going up to 14 degrees by June 16th. Then it's going to station retrograde back to 11 degrees, 28 minutes, November 22nd. And then it's going to go forward 16 degrees, 29 minutes by June of 18. Okay? So with Neptune, if you've got anything between 9 degrees and 16 degrees of mutable signs, what are the mutable signs? Come on, class, everybody say it out loud. They are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. Very good. Okay? 9 to 16 degrees. If it's before 9, like 7, 8, 9, you've been getting Neptune all of 2016. And you can just like thank your lucky stars it's over. I gotta say, I'm in the middle of a Neptune transit. I got the moon at 11 Gemini. Neptune is coming around squaring my moon. Oh my God. Last year, Neptune squared my Saturn at 8 degrees of Sag. Right? Neptune is so undermining. And by that, I mean like you think you know something, or you have something, or something is stable, or something is solid, or something is predictable, or something is dependable, and you find out it's not. And it's inside you. Neptune is confusion, chaos. I don't know my head from a hole in the ground. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who I am anymore, who you are anymore, what the world is like anymore. Let's look at it with Mars. Okay? Mars. Mars in mutable signs is like, yeah, Neptune just comes along. Doubt. Capital D-O-U-B-T. Okay? So like every time you go to act, Neptune is like kind of like, are you sure? Is that the highest? Okay, you know, or I mean, Neptune Mars is known, okay, to just like be the martyr, the giveaway, the softie, all right, with no balls, no guts, no you know, Neptune comes along. Mars is myself, and Neptune is selflessness. Neptune is the collective unconscious. It's a good time to take all of your self-interest and give it to charity. Sacrifice, build a hospital or Doctors Without Borders or the Peace Corps, or, you know, it's just like, it's a great aspect, a great time for you to become generous. Yeah. And to get over your own, you know, just really feel magically guided in all of your actions, Mars, by spirit, Neptune. See that? And it requires surrender. Neptune requires surrender. Not to another person, not to the boss, not to the parents, not to the kids. No, 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 no. Surrender to spirit, which means what? You got to get in touch with spirit. I don't care what personal planet Neptune is hitting, you've got to get in touch with spirit, or you can forget it. Yeah? Has a lot to do with depression, has a lot to do with suicide, avoidance, addictions. Okay, this can also be a time, Mars, Neptune, where Mars is needles, Neptune is addictions. I just want to shoot up and shoot up and shoot up and shoot out and shoot away and get out of here. And not do Mars, not confront, not assert, not argue, not be human, not have intercourse, not have, you know, I mean, so, you know, Neptune can just kind of come along and put this big fog on everything. So you need to really tread, you know, tread carefully, tiptoe through the tulips. Neptune, Venus. Again, Venus is the lower octave of Neptune, so they have a lot in common. Yeah, Neptune is spiritual love, Venus is earthly love. So it's all about love, and it's all very beautiful. It's artistic, it's romantic. You want candlelight dinners. You know, you think of new songs to sing. You pick up an instrument. You start painting with your hands. You know, whatever. I mean, you get into art. Music, dance, poetry, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. You fall in love and romance and, you know, the Frog Prince, you know, or whatever, you know. It's just like you go into fairy tale land. So again, you need to tread carefully so that you don't just like, you know, step too far over the edge. And here's the downside of Neptune. Rose-colored glasses. I fell in love, okay, with what? An image, a projection, an imagination. You got to be real careful. Neptune is illusions, lies, deceit, thieves, and Venus is money. You got to watch your freaking money. Watch your bank account, okay? Don't be just like, you know, giving everything away to, you know, strangers and whatever and this and that, and, you know, be Mr. or Mrs. Generous and wake up one morning and go, oh my God, I don't have anything in my bank account. Oh, I was just charging, and, you know, all of a sudden, you know, the bank is calling me up and taking my charge card and taking my car and taking my house. And so, yeah, Neptune, Venus, money can run through your fingers like water. Yeah. So the good side is, yes, you can be inspired, and the downside is, you know, keep your feet on the ground. Or you sail away like a helium balloon until you get to a certain point where you pop. Mercury, Neptune, Mercury, oh, jeez. You know, this is one where don't even try to balance your checkbook. Hire an accountant. It's like, you know what? Your space, you know, it's great for writing music, doing right brain stuff, totally awesome, very creative, but, don't really, you know, it's not a good time for signing contracts, business agreements, making long-term contracts, and, it's very easy to be deceived and have other people just bullshit you because you're gullible and naive. Neptune is very innocent. So you can be, returning to innocence, and that can be very beautiful. Mercury is the eternal youth, and you couple that with Neptune, and you can go into la la land and think that everything is just fine. And I don't want to read the news, or I don't want to listen to reality, or I don't want to and then, you wake up, and it's 2 years later. Neptune is at least a 2 to 3 year transit. It's going just about as slow as Pluto these days. Okay, so, you can wake up 3 years later like Rip Van Winkle, like, where am I? Who am I? What happened? Oh, I've been sleeping. The entire world has changed. My lover left, my money left, my security left. I mean, so stay awake. Yeah. Same with the moon, Neptune moon. This can be actually, and the moon and the sun too. Look out for your health. Neptune is the immune system. You get more sensitive, you get allergies, you get run down, you get chronic fatigue, you get disenchanted with your life, with your love, with your relationship, with your home, with your family, with your house, with your country. I mean, Neptune dissolves, and it's dissolving things. And it's scary to surrender to something higher, something divine. And without, all I can say is, without a spiritual practice, you can get seriously screwed. I don't know how people without a spiritual practice get through Neptune transits. You got to tap in. Neptune rules the crown chakra. You have to open the crown chakra. With Kundalini Yoga, I connect to the golden chain, to Ram Dass. It's like, whoa, like, help me out here. What is going on? What does this mean? Who is, thank God we have these techniques. And it can be music, painting. Some people do it with jogging or surfing, but, there's ways. Okay, you may do it with ceremony and Gaia and moon dances and whatever, but it's just like, it doesn't matter what you call spirit, okay? But, there's a bigger intelligence than your ego. And Neptune is going to show you that. And if you want to see that, you're in good shape. And if you don't believe that, or you ignore that, or you're afraid of that, you want to be a control freak and have your ego in charge, then Neptune just has a very subtle way of having things kind of just go out of your life. Yeah. And speaking of which, let's go on to Chiron. I'm way over time here, but gotta wrap this sucker up. Chiron, 21 degrees in January 1st. It goes up to 28 degrees, 51 minutes, July 2nd. Then it goes retrograde, back to 24 degrees by December. Then it goes direct in December of 17. And by April of 2018, it has gone into Aries. So for Chiron, if you've got anything between 20 degrees and 0 degrees of mutable signs, Mutable signs, Gemini, Virgo, Sag, and Pisces. Okay. You have Chiron transiting. And Chiron is co-ruler of the underworld. Yeah. Chiron takes you in. Chiron takes you down. Chiron is your feelings, and feelings want to be felt. Whether you're afraid of your feelings, whether you ignore your feelings, whether you are just like all about your feelings, okay? Chiron is going to reveal deeper feelings, yeah? And the wound, you know, Mars is going to be your sexual wound. Venus is heart wounds. I'm going to speed it up here a little bit. Mercury is mental wounds. Moon, okay, is home, past wounds. Sun is, you know, vitality, creativity, where I've really been wounded in terms of confidence. But these are, Chiron is, you know, bringing you in and bringing you down. And what's the way to deal with Chiron is not to overcompensate. Because you feel weak, pretend, or put on a show, or puff up your chest and be fake and phony. That'll never work with Chiron. I mean, temporarily it will, but your bubble will burst. Yeah. Your chest could burst with a freaking heart attack. Yeah. So, you know, this is like real time to face the music, to be honest with yourself, truthful with yourself, to come in. Yes, the underworld is feminine. It is internal. Introvert, reflect, go into and explore. The key to Chiron, your wound becomes your medicine. After you investigate it, you read about it, you research about it, you talk to people about it, you express it, you open it, you clean it out, you sew it up, you are then a doctor of that particular wound or that particular chakra. Yeah? So it's not through avoidance, denial, or pretending. It is really through addressing and being honest with yourself and your feelings and your needs. And this can involve many a difficult conversation in partnerships, in relationships, with employers, with family members, wherever this falls, particularly looking at the, you know, Mercury is conversation, Moon is family, you know, whatever, you know. Venus can just be, you know, I'm not happy anymore. You know, I'm not feeling joy anymore. And what are you going to do about that? Yeah, you need to make changes. You need to go into the underworld, admit the reality, and then seek spirit guidance, help from other people, find your own power, whatever it takes. You make that turn, you make that curve, and then you become the healer. You become the medicine for the people, like Nako. You know, it's just like, you know, you bring out, you are the guru, you are the teacher, you are the wise one, you are the nurse, you are the doctor. You have the heart, the compassion, the understanding of the situation when other people are going through it, what other people need, what other people are afraid of, what other people are feeling. I mean, it's just, you know, it's beautiful. Chiron shows us our humanity, yeah? And it really, you know, united we stand, divided we fall, yeah? Chiron brings us into unity consciousness. I really feel he has a lot to do with Christ consciousness, has a lot to do with the unified field and really opening the gates, okay? He is the rainbow bridge to the unified field. And it's very humbling, yeah? And it's very giving. And it's through devotion to something bigger and greater that really brings you into that unified field. So it can be very beautiful, but again, especially in Pisces and in the mutable signs in general, it does have a lot to do with letting go, releasing, surrendering, and being guided. And it's very challenging, especially now, because why? Look at that square to Saturn. Freaking A, cut it out. Yeah? Ouch. That is a toughie square. Okay, and I mean, I even talked about it a little bit. You can see Saturn, January 21, goes up 2748 by April 6. Oh, I did this at the beginning, right? Goes back to 21 and then goes up in December, goes into Capricorn. So, planets, particularly here between 21 and 30, okay, which is what? The same as Chiron. What did I say? Between 21 and 30. Ay, 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 ay. And you can give an orb of 2 or 3 degrees on this one, you know. So you're not only getting a Chiron transit, you're getting a Saturn transit. And if Chiron doesn't bring you down, Saturn will, yeah. Mutable signs are getting Saturn. Saturn is constrict, contract, reflect, set a goal, keep your feet on the ground, get real, pay attention, take care of business, grow up. Just sum it up. It's the big dad, okay? You know, whether you know, not your earthly dad, okay? Your, you know, the big dad. Authority, responsibility, duty, maturity coming through here. And what that has to do with is, you know, very often filling a set of shoes that's too big for us. And, you know, we get in touch with all of our, you know, fears in our inner child. And we want to close off, shut down. I'm not old enough. I'm not big enough. That's too boring. Okay, that's too, you know, it's not fun. You know, I'm not having any fun anymore, so forget it. Saturn says, you know what? There's a job to do. You need to make a commitment or you'll never do anything. If you want to leave a legacy behind you, if you want to bring in a new paradigm, if you want to create a festival, okay, if you want to have a party, okay, you got to come up with some money, buy the balloons, buy the cake, buy the liquor, or whatever you use to party, okay? You know, even partying takes responsibility. You can't get away with anything when Saturn comes around. You know, it's just like, oh God, man. And then, you know, Chiron is like, you know, this is just like, whoa. And it's in Sagittarius, and I just got to say, this is a big time, okay, of truth. And, you know, we look at the downside of Trump, but I don't know. I at least get the sense that the guy is just not smart enough to be very manipulative in terms of, you know, I think that he just spits out, you know, I mean, in some ways that is honest. It's blunt, brash, brazen. Yeah. Okay. You know, but at least it's not undercover, sneaky, quirky, smoky rooms in the back, you know, whatever. I mean, it's just like, at least it's in your face. Things have been going on, you know, undercover, you know, the black budget, okay, you know, and all this other kind of things going on. But, you know, I think what this year is about is really seeing it as it is, the year of profound revelation. You know, all the planets just say it over and over and over again. But if you've got Mars here, okay, you know, it's got to do with work. This is a good year for you to work and accomplish and put your nose to the grindstone. And Saturn builds slow, steady. You've got to endure. You've got to persevere, and you can be, but guess what? What you build during this year is going to last for the, could be the rest of your life. Saturn coming around to Mars, businesses that you start, relationships that you start, Saturn makes things last. Good year for that. Coming around to Venus, okay? Saturn is get real, okay? Get grounded. This relationship is either going to last for 28 years or I need to get out of it, or I've been alone and now I'm taking relationship Venus seriously, Saturn, yeah? So you have these two going on. Bring them together. Get real, grow up. It's like, either get in the relationship or get out of the relationship. Like, make up your fucking mind, like, yeah, get serious. And if your partner's not serious, or your partner may leave you, okay? You could be this one that's not wanting to get real or, really look at your stuff or whatever. And your partner says, I'm out of here, man. So, Saturn is also separation. And it's just good for you to be doing it, you to initiate it, you to be the conscious one, rather than have it happen to you. That's always a sign of the unconscious. Yeah? Okay? Venus. Mercury, Saturn, Mercury, serious thinking. Good time to write a book. Be careful not to get depressed. You just want to use this consolidating, confining, constricting energy to bring your thoughts into focus. Write that thesis. Go back to school. Get your, do your website or, set your books in order. It's a very good time for business and commerce and getting stuff done. And, it can get too serious. You have to remind yourself to go out and have some fun once in a while and see a movie and lighten up and, not be so heavy and depressed or whatever all the time and, just be too heavy on people. Moon Saturn. Moon Saturn. Saturn can block, suppress, deny, okay? The moon, is my feelings and my needs and my inner child and what I really want and who I really am. And Saturn says you don't deserve it or you're not old enough or, get the job done. What is it? You got to get all your work done before recess. It's not all work, no play. All work, no play makes Jack a dull boy. Yeah, that's one. But anyway, you could have this attitude where you get, too ground into something and you don't let yourself have fun. You're too professional. You're too all about business. You're always on the screen. You're always on the computer. You're always working. You're always da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And you could have what? Chiron will come in with a health crisis, could be nervous breakdown, could be, immune disorders, chronic fatigue, all kinds of Mercury's the nervous system. Oh, I'm talking about the moon, digestive. Oh shit. Yeah. Bowels. Okay. Constipation. Saturn is the anal sphincter muscle. Okay. Moon, Saturn, hemorrhoids. You can have just this whole thing where you're uptight, you're too tight, you're guilty or you're ashamed of yourself, so you don't stand up for yourself. And then your child feels abandoned. And so you act out in stupid ways. And so you have to balance the child with the adult and not be Mr. Sober, serious, adult all the time and not be, a gushy-wushy, self-centered baby all the time. You got to time and a place for everything, a season for everything under heaven. Yeah. Chronos, time. And I think last but not least, am I done here? God, this is a lot of talking. The sun, Saturn, sun. Time to become King Arthur. Yeah. Time to really, really step into, yes, the position of authority, the position of responsibility. You need to develop patience. You need to become more objective. This is your time out of a 28-year cycle, okay? We will say 7 because it could be conjunct, square, or opposite, okay? But Saturn Sun is a time of like really bringing together and, you know, focusing your creativity in a very, very powerful way. So I hope that this is instructional, that you just kind of get an idea of these planets, of what Pluto brings. And it's the same, it's like natal astrology, just put into transits and natal and progressions. You know, these are just the archetypes, these are just the energies. I call them psycho-spiritual functions. You know, it's just the way it is. It's just a piece of ourselves. Yeah. And they come around and they demand this and want that and change that and, you know, da da da. So it's they rise and they fall and they bring you down and they bring you up. And this is just like, you know, the Swiss watch of life in a body on planet Earth. Hope this is helpful. Get something out of it. Questions, bring them to the forum or the dream team or one of my workshops. The Astrology Rising Convention in May. Namaste. Aloha. So much love.